Adam M. Brandenburger, Co-Opetition. In today's intense competitive landscape, can cooperation actually lead to success? Co-Opetition by Adam M. Brandenburger offers a fresh perspective on tackling the business world by bringing together competition and cooperation. This summary delves into the key concept of co-opetition, where businesses benefit from supporting each other while competing at the same time, and offers valuable insights into the roles of customers, suppliers, competitors, and complementers. We will also explore the game theory approach and the PARTS acronym, equipping the reader with tools and strategies to understand and navigate the complex business landscape effectively.
Thriving in co-opetition. Success in the business world is not just about outrunning competitors, rather, it's often about identifying and cooperating with complementers, who can boost the value of your products or services. Businesses may play multiple roles, such as being both competitors and complementers, leading to a beneficial yet complex co-opetition, making it crucial to understand these dynamics and develop an effective strategy accordingly. It's a common misconception that to succeed in business, one must consistently outperform the competition in a race to the top. However, not every business scenario follows this metaphor. In many instances, businesses can actually gain from supporting one another instead of trying to outdo each other. To better grasp this concept, we can categorize business players into four distinct groups: customers, suppliers, competitors, and an often overlooked fourth type known as complementers. Complementers provide products or services that enhance the value of another product. A classic example is hardware and software. Better hardware calls for faster software, and vice versa. It's important to note that the divide between complementers and competitors isn't always clear-cut, and players can take on multiple roles. At times, you might cooperate with a competitor by adding value to each other's products while also vying for how to allocate the value between yourselves. For instance, cosmetics manufacturers and retailers both contribute to getting cosmetics into the hands of consumers. Nevertheless, since customers are only willing to pay a set price for a given item, manufacturers and retailers must negotiate the division of this revenue. This blend of cooperation and competition is known as co-opetition. While it may appear confusing at first, being aware of these dual roles is critical for devising an effective business strategy. By embracing co-opetition and finding the right balance between collaboration and rivalry, businesses are better positioned to thrive in today's complex market landscape. Mastering business game theory. To thrive in the complex world of business, employ game theory to devise effective strategies. Begin by understanding the key elements using the acronym PARTS: players, added value, rules, tactics, and scope. Examine each player's role, assess their added value, and leverage that value to change the game's rules. Recognize that every player has a unique perception of the game, affecting their tactics and the game's scope. Remember, the elements of PARTS are adjustable, enabling you to modify them for a better strategic position. As the game evolves, adapt your business strategy accordingly to maintain an edge. Navigating the intricate landscape of business requires a strategic approach. Enter game theory, which serves as a valuable framework for creating effective strategies involving multiple players. Grasp the key elements of the business game using the acronym PARTS, which stands for players, added value, rules, tactics, and scope. Players include customers, suppliers, competitors, and complementers, each contributing value to the game. The power to negotiate and influence rule changes stems from this added value. For instance, cosmetic industry retailers control the distribution channels to consumers. By leveraging this power, they can alter the rules dictating how much manufacturers charge for products. A player's unique perspective on the game informs their tactics and their perception of the game's overall scope. While cosmetic manufacturers might focus solely on their industry, department stores could consider a broader spectrum, encompassing multiple industries. The PARTS elements define power relationships and relative performance for each player. However, these elements are not fixed, they can be adjusted to better your position within the game. Keep in mind that as one element changes, the entire game shifts, requiring you to adapt your strategy in response. In conclusion, game theory provides a versatile framework for navigating the intricate world of business and uncovering opportunities for growth. By understanding the parts elements and adjusting them, you'll position yourself for strategic success in a world shaped by constant change. Embrace change, enter the game. When considering entering a market, it's important to remember that adding a new competitor changes the landscape for everyone involved. This change could be mutually beneficial, as your entrance could profit other players. When joining the market, ensure that you receive proper compensation from your customers for your efforts. As you become established, seek new customers, complementers, and suppliers to enhance your value and improve your negotiating position. Embrace fresh competition as motivation to stay ahead and innovative. Overall, when entering a market, always look for ways to bring others into the game to maximize success. Maximizing added value. Added value is a key component in any game, whether it's business or personal. It represents the unique contribution you bring to the table, and it varies from player to player. In a monopolistic market, diminishing the added value of others can help you maintain control and power. On the other hand, if you're in a competitive marketplace, your focus should lie in enhancing your own added value. Employing different strategies such as trade-offs, trade-ons, and cultivating customer relationships can help you ensure that your value remains significant and relevant. Every player in the game brings a certain added value, and it can be modified over time. In a monopolistic situation, such as an exclusive business, reducing the added value of other players like suppliers or customers can strengthen your position. For instance, creating supply shortages can minimize the added value of customers, making it easier for you to maintain control. This tactic was employed by Nintendo in the late 1980s, generating immense demand and making their character Mario more famous than Mickey Mouse. However, if you find yourself in a saturated market, your main goal should be to amplify your own value without disrupting others. In such markets, having negligible or zero impact when leaving the game implies a lack of added value. To avoid this situation, consider making trade-offs, reducing product quality for a decreased price, or trade-ons, enhancing a product's value while lowering production costs. Although trade-ons can offer short-term benefits, competitors may eventually catch up. To create a more long-lasting strategy, focus on building strong customer relationships. Fostering brand loyalty guarantees consistent added value even when your products are of average quality. By understanding the importance of added value and identifying the right strategy for your situation, you can make significant progress in business and staying ahead of the competition. Shaping business rules. Growing from childhood to adulthood transitions us from following external rules to defining our own, and this applies in the business sphere too. Rules, including pricing, are critical elements that affect how we interact with employees, customers, and the environment. Though many rules are shaped by legal frameworks, negotiable clauses, such as Most Favored Customer, MFC, and Meet the Competition, MCC, clauses, also influence the business environment. By recognizing and leveraging such negotiating power, businesses can significantly impact the balance of power between all players, thereby shaping the game to their advantage. As children, we learn to follow rules set by others, such as adhering to traffic signals and obeying bedtime curfews. This dynamic changes as we enter adulthood and gain the ability to reshape some rules ourselves. In the business world, we encounter rules that determine how to engage with employees, customers, and the environment, all of which impact the market landscape. While laws often define core rules around pricing, there is more flexibility than might appear at first glance. Even in the face of government regulations, businesses can shape and negotiate specific contractual agreements with customers. Clauses like Most Favored Customer, MFC, and Meet the Competition, MCC, enable companies to have greater control over pricing dynamics. An MFC clause obliges a company to offer a customer a better price than their other clients, while an MCC clause allows matching a competitor's price so as not to lose the client. These clauses directly affect the balance of power among all parties involved in a transaction. The MFC clause can lead to hard negotiations, as companies might need to cut overhead costs for offering reduced prices. The MCC clause, however, empowers businesses with the choice to retain or let go of a client and saves time by providing a clear pricing guidance. Understanding and leveraging these subtleties in business rules not only change contractual terms but also impact relationships with other market players, leading to transformative influences on the entire business environment. Mastering perception in business. The power of perception in the business world cannot be overstated. Our beliefs about how things operate shape our actions. By understanding this concept, you can influence others' perceptions and, in turn, their behavior. Displaying strength or selectively disclosing information can grant you control over others' actions. Similarly, knowing when to withhold information or presenting it in a confusing manner can put you in a more advantageous position. Becoming a master of perception can significantly impact your professional life and interactions with others. The human mind is incredibly influential, particularly in the realm of business. Each player's perception of a situation can alter the reality of the game itself. It is essential to recognize this pivotal relationship between perception and behavior. If you wish to shift the dynamics of interpersonal exchanges, begin by transforming the perceptions at play. Consider the professional who believes they're falling short in negotiation settings. They might try to compensate by becoming more aggressive, only to discover that others are resistant to their forceful approach. In contrast, a self-assured individual can effortlessly project their confidence and set the conversational tone. Utilizing this understanding of perceptions, one can strategically manipulate information to influence others. One option is to telegraph strength through selective disclosure. For example, dressing impeccably for an interview signals past success, increasing your perceived value to the company. However, appearing disheveled can unintentionally send the opposite message. Knowing when to keep information secret is also crucial. Imagine the president of Columbia Pictures who sold E.T.'s movie rights for a mere $100,000, a regrettable decision as the film earned $400 million. An error like this is best left unmentioned in interviews. Additionally, altering perceptions can involve presenting information hindrances, like masking high prices with complex calculations. Understanding and leveraging the power of perception will considerably enhance your professional interactions and opportunities for success. Expanding the game scope. Life can be seen as a series of interconnected games, and understanding these links can give you an advantage in the game you're currently playing. One game's actions can have a ripple effect on other seemingly unrelated games. By widening the scope and recognizing links between games, you can carve out a unique path and avoid direct competition with established players, just like how Sega did in the video game market. When they entered the industry in the 1990s, instead of directly competing with Nintendo's 8-bit systems, Sega developed 16-bit games, differentiated their pricing, and successfully created a new market space for themselves. Picture life as an intricate network of interlinked games, with your actions having cascading effects across the landscape. Viewed through this lens, you can strategically leverage these connections to your advantage. However, many people overlook these relationships, treating separate areas as independent games. The trick to fully utilizing the interconnected nature of games is to recognize and exploit the links between them. Sega applied this technique when they entered the video game industry in the 1990s. By developing 16-bit games instead of going head-to-head with Nintendo's 8-bit systems, Sega broadened the game's scope, creating new market segments and avoiding direct competition. This allowed Sega to carve its own niche and thrive within the gaming sphere.
The main takeaway from Co-Opetition is that a prosperous business strategy doesn't solely rely on outperforming competitors but involves fostering fruitful relationships with other players in the market, including customers, suppliers, and complementers. By mastering the 5 elements of the business game, parts, added value, rules, tactics, and scope, parts, one can leverage the unique position each player has to offer. This adaptive approach to business strategy empowers companies to thrive in a dynamic, interconnected environment by encouraging cooperation and competition simultaneously. In essence, understanding and embracing the core principles of co-opetition will strengthen a business and its adaptability in an ever-changing market.